Welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show, a Baxter Professional Services production. This is the Nurse Shark Academy Show. The Nurse Shark Academy Show highlights nurse business owners and others in the healthcare field who promote entrepreneurship. We interview nurse leaders and encourage them to tell their story. Today's episode, we have Millikan-Wilkin, or how a former figure skater turned nurse found her niche as a health coach. Hi, and welcome to the Nurse Shark Academy Show. My name is Tina Baxter, and I'm your host. The Nurse Shark Academy Show highlights nurse business owners and others in the healthcare field who promote entrepreneurship. We interview nurse leaders and encourage them to tell their story. Today's episode, we have Millikan-Wilkin of Firebird Health Coaching here with us today. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And so can you tell me, we always like to hear a little bit about you and what you've done. And I see that you've been an ER nurse for 10 years and a professional figure skater prior to nursing. Wow, how exciting. How did you go from figure skating to nursing?
It was actually a pretty easy jump. Having skated, on public sessions and stuff, there were people that would inevitably get injured or hurt. And I just was compelled to always help them and to make them feel better. And so nursing was a logical step for me.
Okay. And so when you were a figure skater, because I'm always just curious about people's backstory, what type of figure skater were you? Were you couples? Were you solo?
I was an individual skater. I competed individually. And won national collegiate championships many moons ago, and then ended up touring all over the globe with various ice shows before settling down and coaching for a little while before I actually picked up the nursing profession.
Awesome. Oh, wow. So you were a coach for a while. That's great. So you have that background of coaching already under your belt because of what you did with ice skating.
Correct.
So you mentioned being a nurse. Where did you go to school, and how did you get into the ER? What brought you there?
Well, I was an LPN before I was an RN. And one of the things that they had us do in our LPN program was to create a 10-year timeline of where we wanted to be. And I thought that was a pretty good exercise. And growing up in Indianapolis, the old Wishard Hospital was always something that we knew as the trauma center in downtown Indianapolis. And so when I became a nurse, I am a self-proclaimed adrenaline junkie. So I knew the ER was where I wanted to be. And at that time, I was in Southern California. But lo and behold, as I transitioned into my RN program, I moved back to Indianapolis and was able to make that goal or that dream of mine come true, working in what's now Eskenazi, but at the time was Wishard Hospital in their emergency department. So it was a pretty cool ability to fulfill that mission.
So are you an Indiana native?
I am.
And you came back, you went to California, I'm assuming, for figure skating, and then came back?
I have lived literally from one coast to the other. And yes, usually it's been skating motivated. And then when I was in Southern California, I was the skating director for a couple of different skating programs out there. And after 9/11, I decided to kind of regroup and step back. And so I decided to go back into the medical field, where I felt like that was a safe place for me to be. I enjoyed it. And so that's when I started to pursue the nursing career in Southern California. I did get to work at UCLA in their transplant unit as an LPN. Well, it's an LVN out there. And so that was a neat experience as well, and gave me a lot of depth. And then as I transitioned to the RN program, I moved back to Indianapolis to take care of family.
Okay. Now, where did you go to school to get your RN degree?
So my RN degree is through Indiana State.
Okay.
And I have my master's through WGU, Indiana.
Okay. All right. And what's your master's in?
nursing management and leadership.
Awesome.
I went that route because I knew that I wanted to be able to teach clinicals. And I wasn't necessarily, super committed to getting that PhD in education, but I knew that if I got my MSN, I could at least be a clinical instructor for 2-year nursing programs. And I felt like that was my way to pay it forward and to make sure that the nursing skills continued forward in the future.
Awesome. Well, that's great. And so you working at Wishart, are you still working clinically as a nurse at Wishart? Or, well, no, I'm sorry, Eskenazi now.
No, I'm no longer. I stepped away from bedside recently.
Okay. And so you now have transitioned into health coaching. How did that come about?
Yes, I have. I'm super excited to start this next round, if you will. In 2018, my dad had passed away. And without going too in depth on that, let's just say that I felt that allopathic medicine had failed me and my family. And so I went looking for more holistic methods to prevent these diseases and to reverse diseases and that sort of thing. And so that's when I stumbled upon the health coaching field. And I was fortunate to be a graduate and get my certification in both health and life coaching from Health Coach Institute, which had a very thorough program. And I've been very thrilled to have all those different experiences under my belt. And so now when I am ready to step away from bedside and do health coaching full time, I have the best of both worlds. I have my coaching experience from skating as well as my certification program, but then also I have my bedside nursing skills. So that way, when I have a client that maybe is on the verge, I can catch things a little bit earlier than maybe than a non-clinically trained coach would be.
Yes, because that's always important. I know that there's a lot of non-clinically trained coaches out there, and they're great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also important to know when something is outside of what you can do. And being a nurse practitioner, I know that myself. When there's something that's outside of what I can do, I know to make that an appropriate referral. So just having that to draw on to make those appropriate referrals. I believe in integrative medicine, but I'm going to say this, essential oils isn't going to help your heart attack.
Exactly. And I say that too. I'm a big proponent of no big pharma, but I'm realistic in the sense that I'm not going to be in the ER and say, okay, now let me get the incense and the stones to restart your heart. So there is a time and a place for big pharma. My philosophy is that it shouldn't be an everyday occurrence if you can avoid it.
Wholeheartedly agree. If we look at wellness from the standpoint of preventative medicine, and this is all part of that self-care, we forget that preventative medicine is part of your self-care routine. That means going to get those mammograms. That means going and taking that stress management class, or going to therapy, or all those things that you can do to help with your health.
Right.
And so, so it looks like you've been doing you're a consultant for what's called Life Vantage. What is that, and how did you get involved?
Yes. So Life Vantage is a combination between a biotech and a nutraceutical company. They're known as the Activation Company. Mm-hmm. And how I got involved with them was I was complaining about lower back pain to one of my coworkers, and was totally damaging my kidneys. I was taking like 2 Aleve twice a day, which was frying them. And she's like, you need to try this little yellow activator. And I was like, what is that? And this was before I had gone into go searching for the holistic healthcare stuff. And so I was like, fine, whatever. I was very skeptical, but I trusted her. She was a fellow healthcare professional. And so I gave it a try, and about 21 days in, I realized that I hadn't taken any leave for a few days. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I need to know more, and I want to see the science. And lo and behold, there were 30 peer-reviewed studies on this little yellow activator, which just blew my mind, because it's considered by FDA standards, it's considered a supplement. And so, having peer-reviewed studies by big names like American Heart Association and Harvard Med and National Institutes of Aging, those are unheard of for supplements. And so that's what got me really excited about them. And then when I became a health coach not too long afterwards, I was like, I need to make sure that these products are in the hands of everyone possible, because they work. And they've been proven to work for 100% of mammals. So we have clients that have their horses and their dogs on these products as well. And so it's been an amazing ride. It's helped me with my coaching, in the sense that when I first started, I didn't know how to put myself out there. And so using the vehicle of the LifeVantage products really helped me develop my external coaching skills. I had the clinical stuff. I knew that stuff. And I had, once when I have a patient in front of me, I knew how to coach them through, and I knew how to talk to them. But to get somebody in front of me was a whole new ball game for me, because normally people come flying in the door in the ER. So to find a client is not usually something that I'm accustomed to. So the vehicle of LifeVantage really made a nice transition for me for my coaching business, and it's enabled me to give my health coaching kind of a lift or a step up to help me get started.
So you had that opportunity then to, what as us in business know, sales and marketing, which
Correct.
you don't get in nursing school. And a lot of times that's what coaches and others, entrepreneurs that are starting out, they forget that piece is important, because you're right. As nurses, our patients come to us. We don't have to worry about finding patients. They just show up. And I guess it was a full moon on Tuesday. So they were really showing up for us.
Right.
And so when you made that transition from being a bedside nurse to an entrepreneur, what was that like for you?
Well, it was challenging, because I had to learn to love Sam, as they say, learn to love Sam, sales and marketing. And so I had to learn how to promote myself. I had to learn to be confident in what I did know. You get and being bedside, there's always somebody above you, whether it be a resident or an MD or a DO or an NP, who is there to kind of guide your decision making, even though you may be able to preemptively, go, okay, I know this is what they're going to order. When you're your own boss and you're in an entrepreneurial space, you have to learn that you're the one driving the boat, and you have to be confident about your decisions. And there's a phrase that I learned from my mom, and it's kind of come back across in my pathway here recently, and it's decide and do. So you have to make the decision that this is what you're going to do, and then you have to do it. And that's the big thing, is you have to really learn to trust yourself and to present yourself with that confidence, because people aren't going to want to work with you if you're not really sure who you are as a person yourself first, and then confident in your skills that you can help them.
That's very key. There's a lot to unpack there, and I like that, decide and do. When I'm coaching clients myself, that's one of the things. Is like, can we get you to make some sort of action? I don't care what step it is, at least one step towards your business. And so how long have you been in business for yourself?
Well, I've been in business multiple times for myself with different elements. So when I was teaching skating, I was self-employed at that point. And so, but then again, I also had the group lessons and the skating club kind of preemptively guiding people to me. I mean, I was one of many options, but it was still being presented for me. Then recently, I would say I got certified in 2019 for my health coaching. So that's when I would say I initially started the self-employment or entrepreneurial endeavor once again, this time in the health and wellness realm. And then COVID hit. And so everything kind of got pushed to the wayside because I was in the ER and deployed with Health and Human Services on COVID missions and various other things. So it all kind of got put to the wayside until last year when I really started to step up and realize that, okay, bedside nursing isn't what I want to do all the time for the rest of my life. Loved it. It served me well. And I feel like I've made a good impact on people. However, I feel like I can touch more people through the entrepreneurial realms, through social media, especially being able to connect with people across the globe and make a health impact that way. So I would say my rebirth as an entrepreneur started last year in 2022.
Okay. I think a lot of people kind of restarted, relaunched, or did something differently coming out of the pandemic. I mean, the world stopped. And I can remember at work, they said, okay, we're going to send everybody home for a week or two. And then we'll see what happens. So we just closed everything down for a week or two. And then they're like, okay, somebody's got to take care of these patients.
Right.
So then it was like, okay, you'll be at home for a few weeks, which turned into almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to the grocery store and there was no meat to be found.
Yeah.
And calling around to find, hand sanitizer and PPE and helping nursing homes find what they needed and all of that. And I say that because I want to thank you for serving on those COVID missions, because even though I still worked all through COVID, I didn't have to see people face to face because of what I do. So I appreciate the nurses that were there face to face with the patients, because that's so important and critical.
My pleasure.
And so tell us about where you're located, your business, and how would someone get a hold of you?
So physically, if they are here in central Indiana, there's a couple of different options. We can still meet via Zoom. That's easily done. Or I am also working 1 day a week out of the Massage and Healing Center on the east side of Indianapolis on 10th and Shadeland. But I also have my online reach. So you're welcome to find me on Facebook under Michelle Millikan-Wilkin. That's probably the easiest way to find me. I do have a Firebird Health Coaching Facebook page. So if you can't remember my name, because it's very long and it's my gypsy name that just keeps going and going. So Firebird Health Coaching does have a Facebook group page, and you can DM me through there and I will receive that message. And we can, at that point, schedule a time to figure out where you are and what your needs are. And I'm happy to help, future entrepreneurs, people that are thinking about making the change, people that have just started. I'm happy to give my 2 cents and help. I am not a business coach, so I will, put that disclaimer out there. However, I have helped several other nurses get their businesses off the ground, just as a friend to friend kind of thing. So I'm happy to help whoever I can, where I can. And if you have health concerns, I am absolutely here for you. And again, I can be reached through Facebook or on Zoom, or my website will be in the show notes below.
Great. And then you also had a promotion for our listeners. You mentioned a free Axio sample pack. What is that?
So Axio is one of the LifeVantage products that I have utilized for my clients, and it does a couple different things. It is a nootropic, so you can Google search what is a nootropic, but basically it helps with focus and concentration. It's like an energy drink that's actually good for you. And so it doesn't cause any of the jitters. And there's a caffeinated version and a decaffeinated version. And the Axio has B vitamins, L-theanine, quercetin, DMAE, and those are all excellent for energy and brain focus and concentration. But one of the other things that we have had success with is the DMAE can help with mood. So I have found that night shift workers really enjoy the Axio because it kind of helps keep things stabilized. And I really like the Axio because it keeps me even keeled. And so you can drink it multiple times a day and it doesn't give you the jitters like a Red Bull or one of those other energy drinks. So the Axio is the nootropic energy drink, and I'll be happy if anybody will send me a message. I'll be happy to send you a sample.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. And so that for our listeners, that information will be available in the show notes as well, so that you can get a hold of her if you'd like to try that sample pack. I'm always curious what they taste like.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Our samplers, we have the samples are strawberry and grape. The strawberry has caffeine. The grape is decaffeinated. And I will tell you that the grape tastes like grape Kool-Aid. And they are, they only have 15 calories, 3 grams of carbs, and they are non-GMO, no added sugar, no added colors. And they taste great. And we have a bunch of different flavors. The only ones that come in the samplers, though, is the strawberry and grape. But we have some awesome seasonal flavors right now, like a watermelon mint, my husband absolutely loves, a pineapple coconut that's also seasonal. And then we have dragon fruit and green grape and sour cherry. If you're not a super sweet person and prefer something a little on the tart side, our sour cherry is available year round as well.
Awesome. Okay, that's great to hear. All right, so you can always head over to her Facebook page or to her website, and that is Firebird Health Coaching. Is her business. And so we're about to wrap up here, and so I want to give one quick question. If you had one piece of advice for a budding entrepreneur, what would it be?
Take a deep breath, figure it out, decide and do. That's the big thing.
All right, you heard it. Take a deep breath, decide and do. All right. Well, I want to thank you for your time. And if you want to get a hold of Millikan-Wilkin, you can head over to Firebird Health Coaching. I'm Tina Baxter, and this is the Nurse Shark Academy show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, or to download your podcast from Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts. And then give us a comment and a heart or a thumbs up. We appreciate that. And I want to thank you for being here, Michelle.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Nurse Shark Academy show wherever you get your podcasts, or watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll know when all of our episodes come out. If you want further information, you can contact us on the nursesharkacademy.biz.